Make sure I'm recording here, and looks like I am. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. And once again, thanks a lot for having me in the program here. I'm Joe Wells of AnnouncerJoe.com. I've been a guest instructor before, and I always welcome the opportunity to come here and speak to the class and to help mark out whenever available. So thank you once again for the opportunity. The part I was given today was to make a discussion point about politics in broadcasting. Do politics exist? Just like most industries and most businesses, yes, they do. That's just a fact of life. So many times you'll hear somebody in the teaching position say, oh, no, it's all based upon merit and so forth. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that and blow smoke at you right there. I'll tell you, yes, politics exist. However, I always teach against using the political game. I always teach against the politic path for a couple of reasons. It's because part of what I've seen in this industry in the past 30 years, and really, there's a difference between politics and developing a good working relationship. They're two separate things. They seem like they're the same. However, when you look at their little nuances and differences, they are different, and one is inherently good. One could be very bad. First of all, the bad side, the politics side. I will call a situation politics when a person uses connections or friendship or something along that line to move forward and gain a position or to move up when they don't have the skills to back it up. That's the main difference right there. The politics side is when the only reason you're moving up, the only reason you're moving forward, the only reason you're getting the advance, the only reason you're in the position you're in is because of who you know and because of what you did to get that position and so forth. And you're just not putting the work in, you're just jumping over positions to move up and move on higher. But if you don't have the skill set to support your new position or to support your new location, whatever you happen to be doing in the broadcast world, that's called politics, and that's a bad thing because usually this is the broadcast world, and it's very transparent to those who watch us. If you're not good, if you cannot handle the job, if you cannot get that rapport with the audience, it becomes very obvious very quickly. And that's for an on-air position. Other people I know in the politic world, in the broadcast and politic world, there may be a station director, there may be a director, there may be a producer, and those jobs unravel so quickly. If you're an on-air personality, and as I said, you can't make the rapport with the audience, maybe you can't speak clearly, maybe you have a performance issue and it shows up different ways, it becomes obvious pretty soon the crowd doesn't like you, the fans don't show, and you can't support a program that way. You can't support that. You can't maybe attract sponsors either, which will be a big deal as well. So if you use a politic position if you use politics to gain an on-air position, that's what can happen there. Other positions you look at as far as administration and management goes, a station director who can't manage personnel will watch a whole station crumble underneath them. A program director who cannot follow the pulse of music or the pulse of the whatever programs you're directing at that time. If you're putting shows on the air, program director will be putting shows on the air and determine who goes what and who does what. So a music director or a program director, if they don't have their pulse on the proper music path, you lose an audience. If you're a program director or a producer at a talk radio station and your topic is not on point, the shows aren't produced properly, you lose your audience. So all this stuff becomes pretty obvious on the politics side. And that's when we see the house of cards fall so many times. Because what happens is you'll see the people lose positions. And if you ever see a station where the entire staff is fired at once, that's usually a politics situation where people moved up in position not because of merit, but because of who they knew. Or maybe they were given certain credentials. Maybe they were given more credit than they had due. And it'll fall apart pretty quickly. So I've seen it so many times in this industry so far. It's ridiculous. You would think some people would understand that, but usually people get hooked on the idea of fast fame, fast results, quick results, and so forth, and the easy path. And it's nice for a while, but it doesn't last that long. I've seen a lot of people crash and burn and get out of this industry so quickly, it's ridiculous. On the other hand, we'll talk about working relationships. Now, this is different because, of course, yes, you learn to know people and you get to know people, and people will choose you because they know you. However, they choose you because they know what type of work you are. They know what type of work you do. They know how you perform. They know that you're a reliable person. They know that they can count on you to get a job done. And that's the big difference right there. My position right here, helping out. Mark, your primary instructor, is one of my former employees. Now, does he just look in his book and say, okay, who owes me favors? No. He knows how I work. We get along. He knows what I can do. And so when it comes to a position like this, and he says, you know what, hey, Joe, I need help to fill some time once in a while. I'd like to get a different perspective, a different experience. So I know what you can do, and I know how you can present on air. I know how you can bring these points up for a class. So I'd like you to do this for me. Great. That's a working relationship. Years ago, when Mark was working for me in a radio station, I was doing a TV job. And we had one of our people had a death in the family and had to leave for the game that week. They couldn't stick around. And I brought Mark over to work TV that week. Why? Because I liked him better? Because his demeanor, I knew he could be trained. I knew he could be taught. And also with the crew we work with in television, we're a bunch of nutballs, honestly. But I knew that Mark's sense of humor and the way he handled people, he could fit right in with the crew. Now, there were some people on the radio side who wanted to come over, and they thought I owed it to them because I knew them longer. They had more experience in radio, but the fact is they weren't a good fit. And I sort of had to determine that a couple times. If I would have gone with the political side, and the guy who said, no, I've known you for so much longer, and I got you in this position, and we're doing this together, you should hire me for the TV job. If I would have brought him over, it would have been a crash and burn, because he just would not fit in that situation. I knew how his style was, I knew how his form was. I knew he was really sort of set in his ways, and he wouldn't be able to transition and do something new. But when I brought Mark over to the TV side, I knew, like I said, he was trainable. He was more easygoing, easy with the flow. So, and when you work on radio and you're sort of calling your own shots in the production booth as being the play-by-play man, that's one thing. On television, the play-by-play and the color commentator are listening to a producer, a director, a sound person. They're listening to 10 other people, so you have to work as part of a team. And that's why I brought Mark over. I knew how his work ethics were and so forth. So just a couple of examples right there. And the thing is, when you build a career based upon working relationships, yes, you can move up. You cannot move up as quickly as you might do it if you with the political side. However, what you get is yours. And what you're doing is something you can handle. What you're doing is something which you are proficient in. And it becomes very obvious. And one thing you get when you move up using working relationships and sort of forging your own path and building upon a solid career and a good skill set, what you get at that point is respect. And if you're a respected member of this community, it just seems like things work out for you in the long run. You may not move up and be, the rocket man from the bottom of the rung all the way to the top person on the ladder with a great crowd and a high paycheck and so forth. You may move up slower. You may move up to a certain level and stay there. But what you have is yours right there. The guys that move up really quickly on the political side, they fall down so often. They do fall down so often. And the guys we see here doing this, using the working relationships, are the guys that are here for 20 years. And I said, Mark and I worked together from 1990s. So that's a long time ago, and we're still doing this stuff at our own pace, our own levels, and our own deal, but we're still here doing it. Some of the guys we knew that moved up real fast and have burned out, and they're gone. They couldn't hack the jobs they actually got, and once the reputation's burned, they're done. So that's just some food for thought. Yes, the politics exist. Yes, you can exist without them. Develop the working relationships. Don't go for the fast track. Don't go for the easy path. Go out there, do your job, develop the relationships, get a solid foundation based upon skill, and you'll enjoy this career field. Okay, now right now a couple good talk, a couple things I know for discussion questions for the course. We should leave you with a couple of questions so you can participate in the chat later on in the Blackboard chat room. So be sure to participate in the chat. If anything, let's see some discussion. Have you seen an instance of politics in a workplace or in school or something in your life? And let's relate that. Tell us what happened and if it was a good or bad ending and how you can determine if it was a good or bad ending. And have you seen a situation of work relationships being used, either in a previous job or in a current job you're in now, or maybe in a broadcast class or in a school situation? Can you see where people put their stuff to use, became good, and got a good reputation, and then helped them out later on as people knew who they were and built upon those relationships? So once again, thanks a lot for having me as a guest instructor. I will see you later on. As always, Joe Wells, AnnouncerJoe.com. Feel free to look me up online, Facebook, YouTube, subscribe. If, as always, like I said, I've been here before a couple times. Need a mentor, feel free to fire away questions on my Facebook page, and we'll talk to you later on. Thanks a lot.